Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Cindy. Yes, when you guys are not around, it's like, where are they? Nice to have you. And then a person stepping onto an elevator with a serious cold is wrong on so many levels. Yes. I'm going to say yes to that. Just got off the phone with my daughter. She's coming here from the UK, and I'm like, please, please, please don't be around people this week. Don't do anything. Don't go anywhere. Make sure that you stay safe to come here. So, yeah, got to be safe, right? Okay. Nancy, good morning. And Lynn and Dave, good morning. And Steve, last week I was telling you guys to watch Get Back with the Rolling Stones. I don't know if any of you have done that. But Steve, I kept saying, I hope Steve's here. And then he emailed me right away to say, I am here. So I hope he did see it. And when I put this on today, I thought, all we need is love, love. Love is all we need. And really, pardon my singing, I used to be better when I was younger, but I guess the breath isn't quite as powerful as it was. I don't know. Some singers actually maintain their great voices, some don't. And I've seen a lot of them. Meatloaf has not that raspy singing that he had his whole life. He blew out his voice. But a lot of them actually maintained their voice. Cyndi Lauper was great. So anyway, and I always think about that because there's such a breath and diaphragmatic aspect of singing. Anyway, good morning, Michael. Good morning, Dina. Hi, Lauren. Nice to have you. So this is the last class of 2021, the last live class I'm going to teach in 2021. Not to worry though, because there are plenty of classes that are recorded. I know that for many of you, being guided is definitely better. And I know that's the case for me as well. And I would say that what's really important is, here's what I'd like to get through. Well, actually, I'm going to say it when I'm over there. I'm just going to respond to James Taylor and Jackson Brown still sound so good. That's awesome. Yeah. And I wish they would share it more often. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my age or what, but I just feel like music and the singer-songwriter generation, that whole, 60s, 70s, maybe even into the 80s, they were just so, I don't know, maybe because that's when I grew up. So that's an interesting thought, right? Are we more receptive? Are we being developed in a certain way in our teenage or early 20s? I don't know, that's really an interesting topic. Wouldn't that be something interesting to think about? Like, we're so hormonally driven as humans. Our hormones, I think for a female, I want to say 16 to 24 is the height of fertility. Like that's the time to get pregnant, to procreate. And for men, testosterone peaks at the age of 18. So from a, animalistic driven sense, for us procreating and being in this like powerful place in our lives, it's around that age, right? And so is it what we're exposed to in that time of our lives, like the music and the songs that resonate with us on a really deep layer? Is that the time that they're deeply ingrained and become like, we could go back to them and just remember those great feelings? I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to think about. But what I would like to say is that yoga, the practice of yoga, is about managing your energy. And managing your energy from a mental, emotional layer is where the deepest healing takes place, because it's where we are the most off, is in the layer of the mind. And looking at also the physical body. So for us, we spend a lot of time on the physical practice, and that is managing the energy of the joints, of the muscles, of the bones, the energy of tight and pain and heavy and not flowing, stuck, right? Those energetics, we want to get that out of our body with the physical practice to keep ourselves in the place of light, flowing, pain-free, mobile, fluid. So everything that we do is that. So start to look at your physical body, start to look at your mental body, in an energetic sense? And how can you bring in the opposite of what you're experiencing if it's not a good thing? So that's what's been really powerful for me. And I'll stop when I have heavy emotions and think about how can I lighten this up. With my body, I think about every day moving in such a way that I maintain my physicality for the rest of my life in a healthy, happy, functioning place. And even today I was doing something like stuffing bags. I was organizing a little area. And when I bent down in to do that, I took it as a moment to actually strengthen my joints as I loaded into them. So anyway, why am I saying all of that? Because it's an everyday practice. It's something you do every day. And I'm here to guide you safely and strongly and effectively and efficiently here, because that's what I had to learn to do with my body, with my injuries and my issues in my story, and to help you learn what functions we need to maintain in our body to keep us mobile and happy, to be able to do everything that we want to do in our lives. So for today's practice, I would like to, I don't know, whatever's going to come up for me is going to come up for me, which is usually how it happens. And honestly, that's how I started practicing myself without a teacher. So that's another little tip for you. I when I wasn't in a class anymore and I'm like, oh gosh, what did they do? I forgot. How do I do this? How do I do that? I would go onto the ground, I would close my eyes, and I would feel my way into what felt good. I would start moving my limbs. I mean, this is even before maybe I had become a 200-hour teacher, which is really not a lot of training. This is before my yoga therapy training, which was 1,000 more hours. This is when I wanted to feel better in my body. I'd lay on the ground and just start moving my body. So we're bending our joints, we're pulling on and pushing on our bones and stretching our muscles. Sounds good. All right. So I'm going to begin with my legs up the wall because I have a wall behind me to do that with. And if you have a wall, I would love for you to scoot your body over to that wall because it can be really refreshing. The other thing that's really great is a chair or a sofa. If you're in your living room and you have access to a sofa or a chair where you could rest your legs, that's another amazing place. Or even getting a chair like a dining room chair or something to bring your legs up. Because this can be so amazing at reducing the stress that exists in the middle of our body as the middle of our body tries to support us all day, every day. So get whatever you can, or even scoot yourself near a piece of furniture or the back of a sofa or back of a chair. So if you have the ability to lift your legs up, great, I would love that. And if you don't, you could actually put a bolster or a block underneath your tushy and elevate your pelvis. So you have some form of inversion. Inversion where you're bringing some part of your lower body up higher than the heart and maybe even higher than the head. And when we do that, whenever we bring our body higher than our heart, then we are in an inversion. And that is going to be supportive and relaxing. So let's begin our practice today by taking the stress of what this beautiful organ has to do for us all day, every day. Because this working correctly, this heart, is going to deliver nutrients and it's going to circulate and move toxins out of the body, bringing in the good, taking out the bad, bringing in the good, taking out what we don't need anymore, bringing in what we need, getting rid of what we don't need. All right, so let's find whatever position you're going to begin in. So find something that's around you. And when I go to India, they do not have mats and bolsters and blocks and blankets. They have whatever they have around them. And the way that they figured out the different postures is by watching animals and creatures in nature move their bodies. So that's really amazing, right? So you don't have to have fancy schmancy stuff. Yes, I've got the nice bolster and I've got all the props, but you don't have to have those items. So I'm going to put this back for my head, which will be behind me. So my back of my head, the crown of my head will be towards you, which you know is really amazing. Because the reason why most cultures bow, if you go to Asia, you're going to have people bowing at you. It's because when the crown of the head, my crown of my head is to you, this is where it's the last part of us to close after birth, right? The soft part of the skull. It's believed in many cultures that this is where the spirit or the soul enters, and then even at death where it leaves. So my spirit will be facing you. All right. So I'm going to come down. You get into whatever position you could get into. And with legs up anything, if you're on a chair, if you're on a sofa, please have as much of your calf or lower leg supported if your legs are on the chair or on the sofa. And then with your legs up a surface, the wall, the back of the sofa, back of the chair, piece of furniture, it's not about having the tushy touch the furniture. And you want to be as close as you could get. And for a lot of you, there's going to be tightness because we have done nothing so far for our bodies. There's going to be a lot of tightness in the back of the legs and the glutes. So if you take a bolster or a folded up blanket, you lift your pelvis high off the ground, and then you place the back of your pelvis onto a bolster, a blanket, a towel, you'll get a little more relief. And then your choice with the hands on the belly, or hands out to the side to help do a little stretching of the postural muscles. And then make sure that your blanket is underneath your head and neck, not too high, especially for those of you that normally use a very high blanket behind you. With the inversion, you do not want your head to be high. Our goal is to have lower body higher than the heart first, number one. Number two is to have everything higher than the head. So you don't want your head super elevated here, and you don't want a lot of pressure. Lift your head up, lengthen the back of your neck. And then when you get yourself to wherever you're going to get yourself, close your eyes, start to observe your body. Is this the right position for you to be in? Where do you feel tension, or where do you feel relaxation? And then the most effective posture is the posture of breath. Keep the mouth closed. Begin to breathe in and out through your nose. And then notice your shoulder blades at the back of your body. See if you could press your arms into the ground, lift the upper back off the floor, and slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine. And that becomes a supportive aspect for the upper spine. Your eyes are closed, going into the place of observation, observing whatever exists for you in this moment. And be curious about whatever those noticings are. Sensations, relaxation, discomfort, whatever you're noticing. See if you could be a witness and stand there and notice without judgment, without any negative thinking, but rather in the place of observation. And notice where your mind goes. Bring your awareness to your mouth, separating your back teeth.
Mouth is closed, breathing in through the nose. Beginning to release nitric oxide, which helps to relax the lungs, the throat, and the pathway of oxygen coming in the body. Breathe to your chest and feel the movement of the rib cage, the lungs, the heart, your lungs, your heart, your rib cage. Noticing, do you hear any sounds of digestion? When we go to a place of relaxation, depending on how quickly you get there, the body can begin to focus the internal energy on digestion and absorption and assimilation and fat metabolism and all metabolism of the foods. So feel your chest, hear what you hear. And breathe in and breathe back towards the ground. So you actually start to feel pressure behind the heart, back of the lungs press towards the back of the ribs, towards the floor. Begin to breathe to the sides of your ribs. Feel yourself getting wider with breath. Begin to breathe down to your diaphragm, to your lower ribs, feeling the lower ribs expand as you breathe in. Feel the front of the lower ribs expand. Feel the sides of the lower ribs expand. And breathe in and breathe back towards the back of your lower ribs. Feeling the low back press towards whatever you're resting on. And then breathe down so low to the entire perimeter of the lower ribs that you feel your belly rising as much as it can. Create so much pressure in your lower abdominal area with breath, with the in-breath. See if you could feel that downward pressure moving towards the pelvic floor. Maybe even back towards your tailbone area. And try to feel the movement to the sides of your lower torso. And then breathe in and back towards the sacrum and the tailbone. Breathe in and low, let your belly rise. Take 5 more breaths like this. Feeling everything you can experience as you breathe deeply to the lower belly. Notice if there's too much effort and if the chest starts to cave or you feel this in your neck, and take away that pressure. Make the breath deep and experiential, but not with too much effort. When you finish the last breath, let the breath go back to your body. Let your body breathe itself. Then take your arms out to the side. Reach your arms nice and long. Stretch your hands. Press your fingers to the ground so all 5 fingers touch. Feel the stretch wherever you feel it. Maybe you feel it in your wrist, maybe on the inner elbow, maybe on the shoulder. Stretch your fingers wide. Press your hands into the ground. Your hands, your wrists, and your arms. That will turn on the back of your body to be supportive of many things. That supports the spine, that'll support any kind of front body experience as you turn on the back. So balancing energy, balancing opposites. Here we're balancing front and back of our body by pressing our arms strongly into the ground, stretching the heck out of your hands, feeling that stretch. Take an exhale and an inhale. Exhale. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, bring your hands into a 90 degrees, as close as you could get with your hands on the ground. Exhale, draw your elbows down towards your waist. Inhale, slide your hands up above, trying to do like a jumping jack where you touch your hands. Your hands could either touch the ground or graze the ground, whatever they do, freeing up the arms and the shoulders. This is good for those of you that sit often, or if you've done something for a long time in a seated or looking forward position. Taking, especially if you lie down on the ground like this, when you're on the ground like this, locking your shoulder blades in, you're really stretching the muscles that mobilize the arm bone. Without the shoulder blades and the whole shoulder girdle, trying to do it as a protection. So this is a way to kind of stretch chest, shoulders. Pay attention here, especially those of you with issues in your shoulders. You could have your arms on the ground. You could have them hovering the ground. And then if you're able to come all the way with your hands right above you, do that. Now, for those with shoulder issues, maybe you can only go to the outside. That's okay. If you're able to come straight up overhead, flex your wrists so the palms of your hands are reaching away from you. Reach out the heel of your hand, stretch the inner arms. See if you could feel that all the way down to your pelvis. As you lengthen your rib cage away from your pelvis, stretching the muscles of the abdominal area, noticing what you notice. Take one more breath. And then rest your arms to the side in some position where you feel some stretching in either the chest, at the layer or the level of the spine, whether you're able to actually feel that or not. There's some spinal correction that could take place here. Stretching back of the shoulder blades, rotator cuffs get stretched here, shoulders, chest muscles. So have your arms out to the side. Let's bring the awareness to the feet. Start to wiggle your toes. You could lift your toes away from the wall or away from whatever they are. And if your knees are bent and you're on a chair, unbend your knees. Bring your legs up towards the sky. Point on the inhale, flex on the exhale. Point on the inhale, flex on the exhale. Point and flex. Look at your feet. Do they move the same way? Are you able to stay in this plane of being towards your face and straight up towards the sky? Or do things go a little wonky in your ankle joint as you try to bend your feet? Noticing. Then come back to center, spread your legs a little, slow circles, really slow. Look how slow I'm going. Slow down, Trixie. People try to rush through this. No, go slow. This is where you notice the nooks and the crannies, especially those of you that have issues. This is where you want to start to clear the cobwebs in your body. Go the other direction. I feel this in my ankles. I feel this in my calves. I feel this on the side of my legs. I feel this in my toes. I feel this in my feet. I feel it so strongly that it actually feels like super muscular here. All right, bring your knees towards your chest. So I still have the prop underneath my pelvis. It feels good to me. If it doesn't feel good to you, you could take it away. Arms are to the side. Let's inhale, legs open, exhale, legs close. And then have active feet. So the soles of the feet are pointing up towards the sky. A little inner thigh work. Starting to go a little bigger if that's appropriate for you. For those of you that it's a challenge, grazing your legs along the wall when you do this could be very supportive of the weight of your legs. So if you are near a wall, you could go along the wall to support the weight of the legs. And then if you feel limber and you feel okay, you could actually be away from the wall. So choose what's appropriate for you. Then coming into a held position of legs spread. If you want to hold the weight of your legs with your arms, so on the bolster, you could actually put your hands on the edges and hold the weight of your legs. Or if you're up against the wall and you put your legs on the wall, you still get that deep inner thigh stretch, which is amazing for knee health, amazing for hip joint health and low back health, position of the pelvis. And we're pulling on our pelvis here, so creating a little bone stimulation for some precarious aspects of our pelvis. Stretching your legs. And then if you want to do a little internal, external rotation in your hip joint in this position, it's a pretty abducted leg position. And now we're moving. When you move your toes like this, when you go internal and external rotation in your hip joint, that's pretty crazy. You're already in such a spread position here. And now you're taking the ball of your hip, moving the ball of the hip. Woohoo! And then go ahead, stop. Bring your legs onto the wall. Bring the soles of the feet together and push your legs towards the wall with the muscles of your body, not with your hands. I don't like passively pushing my body because that's how my hip tore. That led to a total hip replacement. So be safe. Let your legs push themselves away to stretch the body into the appropriate place. Take one more breath. And then let's bring yourself up. We're going to do something. I've heard of this called Peter Pan. Maybe this was a Pilates move. Actually, I think this is where I did this, although it's done in yoga as well. Don't think it'll be called Peter Pan though. So you bend one knee, straighten the other, bend one knee, straighten the other. See if you could feel that. So for those of you with knee issues, if this feels okay for you, these are great movements for you to do to take the stress of life out of your knees, the biggest joint in the body. Number one weight-bearing joint in the body is the knee. So make sure it feels okay. And if you want to make sure that you're safe in your knees, when you come into a flexed foot position like this and you reach out the heel, you're actually activating the back of the body. And where we feel the pain with knees is the front. So here we're going to the back to stay away from the front, balancing that energy of if your pain is in the front of your body, start using the back or start moving everything to the back. And then bring yourself up, bring your hands up, your legs, shake, 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 shake. And then we're going to move the prop out from underneath. You could push your legs into the wall and lift yourself up. And then one vertebra at a time, gently place your body back down onto the ground. Knees to chest. And then roll onto your side. Stay here for a second just to calibrate whatever needs calibrated, and then push yourself up to seated.
All right. So when I was able to teach in person, I had walls, and I loved the days that I could go to a wall. Some of the classes I would teach was all wall, and there's a lot of amazing aspects about the wall, because when you do lift your legs like that, you really can settle the pelvis and the low back. For those of you with low back issues, it takes away that chronic muscular tension, that held stress in the body, the muscular tension from whatever, from living, from head forward, from all the things that are happening in your body daily that translate to a lot of held muscular tension here. So doing legs up the wall, legs up a chair can be great in the present moment to reduce pain. But in the long run, it's a great way to introduce more mobility and flexibility and range of motion in the pelvis and the hip joint. You're able to do things with your knees that you can't do otherwise. And so I love it, especially for my people with lower body joint issues, which used to be me. All right, so I want to go a little deeper here with this lower body stretching. And the best way to do that is to use the weight of the body. So we're going to begin today with our movement, like being in this position here. So let's actually come up onto our shins. And you're going to need a block and a strap for today's practice. Just have them off to the side. Then bring yourself up here. And what's really nice about this position here is this is weight bearing for the hips. This is still putting weight and gravity and all the forces that standing would put into this part of your body, yet it's less, because we don't have to have the feet and the ankles figuring out the balance. And I love to think about a clown at the circus with a spinning plate, holding the stick with the spinning plate, and how much the clown has to move around to get that to happen. Well, all that's happening in our body, and we need it to be, we need it to be a young clown that can run around, right? And if there were things on there and he didn't want to drop his plate, we need him to be able to jump over this hurdle and this hurdle to keep that thing. Well, it's the same thing with your body. You need your ankles, the clowns in our body balancing our plate, which is our head, or all the joints of the body, right? In all the joints, we have these little clowns going, woo, trying to get everything to balance. So when we're in this position, we've actually taken the work for the lower part of the body. And there's lots of bones and joints in your feet and your ankles. So there's a lot of balance that takes place there. So let's come down here, take your hands down alongside your body. Exhale. You're going to inhale. Whatever your arms will do, however high they rise. If you have shoulder issues, this may be you. If you don't, this may be you. If you come at the top to bending your wrist like this, you're going to feel a deeper stretch. It's a stretching the fascia even more because you bend the wrist, you pull on the fascia. Exhale to lower, inhale up. Let your gaze go up as well. Exhale, palms go down. Let your chin go towards your chest when you come down. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. Bring a hand down, bring a hand up. Reach up like crazy. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to reach down. Now try to stay alongside your body here. Keep your arm alongside your body as you reach up on the inhale and down on the exhale. Up on the inhale and down on the exhale. Up on the inhale and down on the exhale. If your shoulders don't like this, this may be you. Whatever it is, I want you to bend your spine. So find your appropriate spine bending move in your body. And then bring yourself back to center. Really, really great to do that. So we're going to stretch the psoas, which is the filet mignon. Our filet mignon, it's from the tip of the finger to the elbow. This is about 16 inches, right? And that's about how long your psoas is. It attaches onto your 5 lower back bones and it comes into the pelvis, attaches onto a muscle in the pelvis and attaches onto your inner thigh. And so sitting contracts this muscle. When this muscle is contracted, because it's attached to the lumbar spine, it pulls on your lumbar spine. So we want to free up that tension in the back. Now, having a block may be helpful for some of you because the balance may be an issue here. So let's bring our right foot forward. Bring your right foot forward and walk your right foot forward, forward, forward. Your block would be on your left side, and that's only if you need it. You have your left foot behind you, and that presses into the ground. You have your right foot. So push your right foot into the ground, push your left foot into the ground, and feel that. Now you're standing, so to speak, on the left leg, right? And it's the left leg we're going to be unbending and straightening. So this right hip joint bends and releases. Feel the right belly come closer to the top of the right thigh and then moving away. That's what you're going to do. So try this. Try to look to the side right now. Try to look to the side and see how it puts more of a challenge in you. I'm also balancing on my hip replacement. And so my hip replacement, even though my balance is getting stronger in that side, it's still plastic and ceramic and metal. So it doesn't communicate the same way my natural hip does. It's very interesting. All right, take your hands on top of your right thigh. This will help to stabilize. Push your right foot into the ground, push your left foot into the ground. Take an exhale. And then as you inhale, bend your right knee, bend your right hip, bring your body weight forward. Exhale to unbend your right hip and your right knee and come back up. Inhale to come forward. Let your gaze go up. Feel your left hip joint lengthening and contracting. Come forward, stay here. Stay forward. Bring your hand onto the block, your left hand onto the block, and your right hand onto your thigh, and bring your block forward. So your left hand, the block, is all the way in the same level as your right foot. And then lengthen your spine. Feel your spine getting long. And then you look over your right knee. So you're adding rotational force into your spine, stretching your left hip a little more. If you want to go deeper, you could flip your left toes under and bring your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Take your hands together, push your left foot into the floor and lift your left knee off the floor. Definitely a lot of muscular work here. Pushing your right foot into the ground, pushing your left foot. So you're either here in this position or your left knee is on the ground, your left hand is on the block, and your right hand is on your thigh. Do what's appropriate to you. There's no grades given out. There's no prizes for you doing more than you should. Take one more breath. And then if you are up, go slow. Bring your knee down gently. Bring yourself back. Bring yourself onto your legs. For those whose knees don't like to bend, stay here. For those whose knees are okay bending, flip your toes under and sit back on top of your heels. Stretching your feet. And if you cannot bend your knees, you can still bend your feet. So bend your feet and be up here. Taking a little break, a little tension out of your filet mignon, your psoas, bringing it to your feet. And maybe it feels intense for some of you. The more you practice, the less intense it'll feel, and the more flexibility you'll bring back into your feet. Take one more breath. We're going to come up. We're going to go to the other side. I'm going to stay here instead of moving my body around. All right, we're going to bring the left foot forward. Left foot is forward. Now we're balancing on our right hip. Walk your foot forward so that your ankle joint is forward of your knee. And if you're feeling a little wobbly here, you can walk your left foot over to left, widening your base, making that a little easier. And then also for those of you that want a little bit more challenge, coming right into hip distance here will give you a little more challenge for your body to try to figure out where it is in terms of balance. When we go forward, we're bending the left hip and the left knee. The spine is long. You're keeping your spine long. You're not moving your torso. The movement is not coming forward of the head. In actuality, the head could stay where it is. See if you could keep your head isolated and your lower body moves independently. Or maybe the head moves very, very little coming forward. Take your hands on your waist. Ooh, take your hands on your legs. Well, let me see. Waist could be a little bit more challenging. Let's take our hands on top of our thigh. Elbows are out to the sides. Take an exhale here. Inhale, bend the left knee and the left hip. Let's go slow. Exhale to come back up. Inhale, keep your throat open. Feel that belly stretch. You're really stretching the heck out of your right psoas here. Other muscles as well. But you're really stretching your filet mignon, your loin. This could be great for back relief, for hip and knee pain relief. The next time you come forward, inhaling, stay there. Take your block, bring your block all the way up to where your left foot is. And take your left hand on your left thigh. Long spine here. You don't want to be rounding your spine and you don't want to have your tushy in the air. You want your tushy forward. You want your spine long. Use the block here to get this. And then you're going to lengthen your spine and turn your heart over your left leg. Feel that stretch on the right side. Breathe down to your belly. If you're going to go deeper, you're going to flip the right toes under, take the right arm on the outside of the left leg, bring the hands together, push your right leg into the ground, lift your knee off. Lengthen your spine. It's lengthened and rotated. Push your left foot into the floor. And then if you are lifted off the ground, a little even more strongly, push the left foot and the right foot. Take one more breath. Come out gently. Bringing yourself up and out. Either flipping the toes under and sitting on the toes, or flip the feet under, toenails touch, and sit back on your heels. This is another posture you could eventually do if you're close. So the pulling on the knees, if you feel pulling on the kneecaps over the kneecaps, be careful, those are your tendons of your quadricep muscles. If you feel most of the pull here in your quads, in the belly of the muscle, that's more of a muscular. So be careful with this tendon part here. You don't want to pull on tendons too much. You don't want to aggravate things. So the other thing too is sometimes you could minimize the distance of your knees bending by putting a block or a blanket or rolled up towel underneath. But really nice to bring these movements into your legs if you're still able to. All right, let's do a little bit for strengthening your hanger, your upper body here. First thing I'm going to do is plank, because I think plank is a posture that could be done almost daily, if not daily, that has got tremendous potential for healthy aging. So a full plank is like this. The modification would be that the lower legs are on the ground. You do what you'd like to do. Bring yourself up into the plank posture. Pointer fingers are forward. Now we're strengthening the filet mignon, the psoas muscle, the hip flexors, lots of other things as well. But this is a great way to strengthen hip joints and the front of the body. And if you have knee issues and low back issues and hip issues, you want those joints to be strong. You want the front of your body to be strong. You want your whole body to be strong, but let's just say we really need this. You want to add a little bit here, do a three-legged plank, lift one leg off the floor, point the toes down, still be really active in your limbs here, even if you're bringing yourself up. And then let's switch. Take your feet down, push your hands, push yourself away from the floor. And then bring yourself down. Bring yourself back. Woo! Feel the heart rate. I'm taking my hands on the back here of my body, standing up here. And then I want you to do a little rotation in the upper body, but with the hands in this position, it's nice and supportive of the body. So just go side to side. See how that feels. Notice if you notice anything. Hands are here on your pelvis. I'll be right back. Keep going. So this actually feels good for me. I don't know about you. It feels really good, and it's a great way to bring in some rotation. Go ahead, shake your hands. So that was the regular plank, the traditional plank. I'd like to do a little dolphin plank for 5 breaths. And someone asked me recently, should I do this for a minute or should I do this for 30 seconds? I don't like to do it according to time. I like to do it according to breath, especially when I practice on my own. I like to use the breath. You could either time yourself to see what a 30-second breath count is for you if you'd like to do 30-second holds. And that is something that I teach in my osteoporosis work. Or find a breath count that's good for you. 3 breaths, 5 breaths, 8 breaths, whatever it is. And use breath to be your guide for I'm going to hold my plank for 5 breaths, or I'm going to hold my plank for 3 breaths, whatever it is. Okay, so take your block like this. Have your blanket in the middle of your mat. Walk your knees all the way back to the back edge of your mat. And then bring yourself forward. So you could stay in a modification of dolphin, lengthening the tailbone away from you. So make sure you take this out of your body. You don't want to have a really strong extension in that lower lumbar. You want to push the low back up towards the sky. And then either the modification or come up. Let's take 5 breaths here. And then bring yourself down. I happen to breathe really slow, and especially when I'm in a posture, I breathe even slower, I think. Okay, Sphinx posture here. Come all the way up to Sphinx. You're on your elbows, push your hands into the ground. Lengthen your spine, so feel like you're pulling the rib cage away from the pelvis. Let your head be up high. Hopefully you feel a pretty strong stretch here in your abdominal area. This is good for posture correction. This is good to help open up the tension that's in the front of the body that presses the front of the spine into itself, which can contribute eventually to spinal wedge fractures, compression fractures in the spine. Really lift your head up, let your gaze go up. Take an exhale. Then inhale to look over one shoulder towards your heel. Exhale back to center. Inhale to look slowly back towards your heel. Maybe you eventually see your heel and maybe you don't. It's more about the journey of adding this rotation in your neck and your torso than it is about where do you get to and what do you see. One more. And then bring yourself back to center. Walk your hands over to one side. Walk your hands over to one side. Push your hands into the ground and lift your rib cage away from the floor a little bit more. If you feel pretty bendy in your spine, maybe you could lift a little higher. You're stretching the top of your psoas here. And of course, a lot of the abdominal muscles. And then bring yourself down, walking back over to the other side through center and then to the other side. Push down, lift your lower body away. And if moving away from the floor a little higher on this side is appropriate, try that. Pushing your heart forward, lengthening your spine. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring your hands back closer to your body. So your elbows are underneath your lower ribs. I'm thinking. We're going to pop ourselves up to puppy dog to stretch our spine, especially after that last move. So I want you to be careful here because this is a pretty big, to actually lift your body away from the ground like this is a pretty intense move. I want you to make sure that your knees are on your blanket. Your elbows are closer towards each other and closer to your lower ribs. I want you to begin by pushing your pubic bone down towards the ground. Push your feet into the ground. Start to lift the low back up slowly. And if at any point in that it doesn't feel appropriate, you could roll to your side and come up. And I want you to keep your head up this whole time, moving your elbows closer to your body until you could finally come up. So I know for me that's doable. I'm not sure. I know that that is a pretty strong move. So you need to pay attention to what's right for you. And if it's not right for you to lift up away from the floor off of your belly, I would go all the way down, roll onto my side, and push yourself up. So choosing whatever is the best for you, I want you to come into a puppy dog. Take your hands forward. Tushy stays in the air. You're bending your hip joint, not your knee. Push your head down towards the ground. Stretch your arms, stretch your chest, stretch your back.
Bring your awareness to your tailbone, point your tailbone towards the wall behind you, and try to draw a line down the wall. So it won't be a big movement, it's a little posterior tilt, taking that extension out of the low spine. Deep breaths here. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up.
All right, let's take our blanket to the top of your mat. So far, we've done a whole lot of deep stretching. If I don't get to say this at the end of the class, when you do this much deep stretching and you potentially loosen and soften, dislodge, clearing the cobwebs, removing the stickiness, really important from a detoxification perspective that you take some deep breaths today to release toxins, because that's one of the major pathways of detoxification. The two major pathways are kidneys and lungs. So the exhales to get out anything that was released in your joints and your tissues, and then hydration with water or tea or something to help flush out anything that came up. Okay, so it's going to be important for a practice like today. Let's come down onto the ground, reaching your hand away from you. You're going to come all the way down onto the ground. Let the blanket support your head. Closing your eyes, knees are bent, feet are flat. Let your hands come onto your belly. I want you to just pay attention to your body at this point. Noticing what you notice. Noticing if you feel tension anywhere. The practice so far definitely, probably, or could feel some low back stuff. A lot of bending of our spine and stretching our psoas, which is attached to our spine. So direct low back work happens so far. Let's take one arm straight, bring the knee up, take the hand directly onto your kneecap. Let the fingers hold that leg, and then let the leg be supported by your hand. So kind of turn off the muscles of the leg. Then draw the other leg up, the arm is straight, holding onto the kneecap. So try to do arms are straight and your hands are really what's holding your legs, so that if you were to let go of your hand, your leg would fall, because you're trying to turn off your psoas and your hip flexors. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your knees straight towards your body slowly. Feel how the low back starts to press towards the floor. The top thighs press towards the belly. The pelvis presses to the floor. The low back presses to the floor. And the thighs squish your belly. Inhale to release. Exhale, draw your knees straight towards your chest. You're actually tilting your pelvis backwards, moving the low lumbar into flexion. This should feel nice and relieving. It's called knees to chest. Apanasana. Exhale to come in. Nice long back neck. Close your eyes. Inhale to straighten. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Exhale, draw the knees in. Turn your hands to the side. Hold on to the lower shins. Press your knees to your belly. And then for some of you, if you want to go deeper, you could bring your elbows onto the edges and try to hold the elbows. So your elbows here are by the edges of your knees, and then you try to hold your elbows. So you're in as tight of a ball as you could get yourself into as you rock back and forth. So compressing the abdominal area like this helps to squish stuff that's in your organs, your liver, your intestines. We're squishing everything. So we are stirring up the pot, moving things out, kind of like a sponge that's saturated with water. And then you squeeze it, you let the water come out. Well, we're squeezing things, letting stuff come out. So when we open up, good stuff can go back in, and whatever came out went into the system to be metabolized and managed by the liver, kidneys, lungs, colon, organs of detoxification, skin to be sweated out, and then bring yourself all the way out. Let's take the strap, make sure the pathways of your body are nice and free flowing for anything dislodged to escape. So take your strap around a foot into the center of the foot, hold on to your strap, keep the other knee bent, and draw that leg towards the back. If you could keep a straight knee or towards a straight knee, that'd be great. Draw that leg back wherever you can and try to make that side waist, whatever leg you have, long. So bring your awareness to the pelvis as you push the pelvis away and you pull the leg towards the wall behind you. When we did the lunge, we stretched the front of the body. Now we're stretching the back of the body, right around the pelvic area. And then come back to neutral. Bring the other foot up into the air. Put the foot right where they strap on the arch. Keep that other knee bent. And then draw that leg back. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Push that pelvis away, nice long waist. And then go ahead and release. Take the strap out. Bring the block between your knees. Take your hands behind your head. Cradle your head in your hands. Feet are block distance. Block is between the knees. Press the arms into the ground. See if you could feel how that turns on the back of your body. So for those of you with front body issues, shoulders, chest, and arm issues, hand issues, wrist issues, you want to turn on the back of your body to support. So think about pushing your shoulder blades backwards, whether right now you're in the ground and you could feel what happens, or even if you're standing up doing something and you need the support of the back of the body. Take an inhale, squeeze the block, and as you exhale, zipper up like you're zippering on a pair of tight pants. Zipper, 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 flatten the lower back. Bring the nose straight up towards the sky. Stay here if you have osteoporosis. And if you do not have osteoporosis, you could bring your chin towards your chest, your elbows towards each other. And inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Last one, exhale to rise. Stay here. Let your low back be flat here. Either your chin's to your chest or your elbows are to the side. And then everyone open up your elbows to the side, point the tip of the nose up towards the sky. And then go ahead and lower yourself down. Take the block out. Bring one leg up towards the sky and the other knee into tabletop. Now this knee that's in a tabletop, closer to your chest if it's a real challenge, right above your pelvis if you're okay for that challenge. Keep your left hand behind your head and take your right arm out towards the side. Take an exhale and an inhale. And as you exhale, lift your right hand up towards your left foot. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale, rise. Inhale, lower. Last one, exhale, rise, stay here. Little pulses, the hand towards the foot. Lower down, bring yourself all the way down, take a break. Take your feet wider than your mat and do a little windshield wiper action. So if I'm not being guided by a teacher in a class, I lay on the ground and these are the kinds of things I do. This right here, the windshield wiper action. This could be done in your bed in the morning when you wake up. This could be done anytime you find you need some release in your body. Taking your knees side to side, legs wide in the windshield wiper action is a really great way to release some tension in the low back, the pelvis, and the hips. Bring yourself back to center. Let's walk ourselves back to center. Let's take the right leg up towards the sky, right hand behind the head, and then the right elbow is pretty high. I want you to stay nice and long on the right side. And then activate the left leg, bringing the leg off closer to your chest if you need. Otherwise, keep that left leg coming straight out of the pelvis. Left hand to the side. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to lift. Left hand goes towards the right foot. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Inhale, last one. Exhale to rise. Stay here, little pulses. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Let that tension release. Take your arms out to the side. Take your legs really wide. Start to let the knee go closer to the mat. And then let your feet be wide and away from you. Arms are to the side. Let your knees stay in one direction. Let your head go in the opposite. You could reach that opposite arm away from the ground. Really stretch your body glove here. Breathe down to your belly. And then bring yourself back up. Let's do the other side. Let your knees go the other direction. Let your head go the other direction. Reach your arm nice and long. Breathe deeply. And then bring yourself back to center. Draw your knees into your chest. Side to side. Time for Shavasana. We began the practice with legs up a wall or a chair. If you'd like to end like that, go ahead and get yourself in that position. Or you could come into a traditional Shavasana with your body outstretched. Choose what is the right for you. And if you need any final movements for your body, do those now as well. I'm going to try legs up the wall.
Gently begin to bring your awareness to your breath. Bring your awareness to your body, to your hands, your feet as you bring movement into them. And then movement down your legs, down your arms, drawing your knees into your chest, rocking onto your side. Stay there for a breath. And take your hand on the floor in front of you and push yourself up to seated. Keeping your eyes closed. Notice what you notice in your body. Let your awareness go up and down your body to notice anything. Bring your hands together at your chest. Press your hands into your chest into your hands,
Feel how that turns on the back of the body, the support of the upper body, the shoulders, shoulder blade area, the back of the body, the muscles there. Press the heart to the hands, hands to the heart. We'll close with a humming, like an M. Let's take a big exhale. Inhale. Bowing in gratitude, in awareness of what's in me is in you, that same light, that same energy, that same human quality. Namaste. Doesn't matter how you move, what matters is that you move. And you move every day. And you feel your way. I teach very somatically, which means body awareness, because it is how I keep myself healthy, how I healed myself when I had issues. And when I had issues in my hips, every single moment of the day, I knew that there was something going on there. So when I would bring my awareness to my body, my whole awareness would go to my hip joint. I used to visualize, what is it like in there? What's happening? What's going on? And then I would compare it to the right hip where I felt nothing. And I would dream of the day that I could not feel anything anymore. No throbbing, no dull ache, no whatever it was, sharp pain, whatever the sensation was at the moment. I used to dream that I wouldn't have that anymore. Or is it possible to not have that anymore? And now when I scan my body for body sensations, there are no sensations, no discomfort, no pain anywhere. And I really attribute that to my daily movement, whether it's what I teach, what I do for myself, free from the energetics of pain, whether it's tightness, lack of range of motion, stickiness, arthritic deposits, bone spurs, whatever it is. Move. You can watch my recorded videos if you need guidance, and then feel your way into movement whenever you can, like all day, every day. All right, thank you so much for joining me. This is my last live class of 2021. So bizarre. Yet now is a time for me to fill myself up to show up in 2022 with all that I have in store for you, because I have a lot of things planned, trying to refine how can I get you to move every day, even if I'm not with you or you're not doing a class. Like, what can I impart upon you that I do that keeps me in the shape that I'm in? All right. Thank you. Happy, safe, wonderful holidays. Thank you for being with me. And I look forward to continuing our journey together of healthy aging for our body, our bones, our balance, our mind, our heart, and our soul. Thank you. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Crazy that it is the last today. I hope you're all feeling good. I know for some of you, I may have poked your monsters, and the knee issue people, the low back people, definitely some pulling and pushing today in a little bit of a harder way than usual, maybe. So let me know if anything was stimulated. Okay, lots of stuff here. Well, Martha, hello. Hi, Joanne. Yes, better days. Yes, in 2022. Yeah, 2021's been quite a humdinger, right? You're welcome, Dina. Michael, you're welcome. Thank you, I will. Thanks, Dina. Carolyn, hi. Great. Oh, well, Carolyn, that makes me so happy because this is such a spiritual practice, and I try to keep the woo-woo at a minimum for those that need that. And then for those who want more, like that's where I deeply feel this and my soul layer, cell layer and soul, from cells to soul. So I'm so happy to hear that, Carolyn. Happy holidays, Lynn and Dave. Steve, if you're out there. Oh, really? Not good connection. All right, that's interesting. What was I saying at the end? I don't know. I just go into a place of saying, I don't know, just about how important movement is and how important you could free yourself up from pain in your body. that because you're in pain now doesn't mean you always have to be. And it requires daily movement to get out of it and balancing energy physically, mentally, and emotionally. That is how you do it. All right. Bye, everyone. Happy holidays.